Hey y'all, and welcome back to the channel. So in today's video we are cooking, y'all. So this is what I made on Easter. I know I'm a little late putting this up, but that's okay. You all can use these recipes any time of the year. So I am not going to prolong with all of this talking. So let's get into this video. So first we are going to start with the dressing. I know it's always a battle with the Jiffy Mix, but that's what I use. I just add my stick of butter and buttermilk instead of water, and of course my eggs. So I like to go ahead and mix my eggs up with the Jiffy Mix, because once my butter comes out of the oven and it's going to be nice and hot, so I like to already kind of mix up my Jiffy, my eggs along with the buttermilk. So now that the cornbread is done, we're going to go ahead and get ready to make our dressing. So I know a lot of people go back and forth about the stovetop, but I like to use the stovetop, the savory herb stovetop, because it just add more herbs. And I like that because, yeah, you're going to add your own seasoning and stuff like that. But I feel like it has more seasonings in it. So that's why I like to use that. And then I'm going to add some more onions, bell pepper, and celery. And, of course, the chicken broth and other seasonings that I showed, along with the cream of chicken. What else? I think that's basically it, y'all, because I show everything that I use. But the thing that I did want to tell you is I like to put everything into my dressing, season it, and then I like to let it sit for 10 minutes. Because a lot of times, people mix their dressing up and then they immediately, if it doesn't, taste good enough for them, then they go back and go ahead and add more seasoning. And I feel like dressing needs to sit, because sometimes you can over season the dressing if you don't do it that way. So that's the way that I like to do it. And like I said, once I add my seasons in there, if it's not to my liking, I let it sit another 10 minutes, and then I just do that until I feel like it's good. And then I put that in the oven, and that's our dressing, y'all. So let's move on to the next dish. Okay, I'm gonna get our sweet potatoes ready for our yams, and I just add a small amount of water because you don't need a lot of water when it comes to the sweet potatoes. I try to cut all of my sweet potatoes the same size, and then I just layer. I just layer sweet potatoes, and then I go in with sugar, nutmeg, cinnamon, just a small amount of cinnamon. You don't want to add a lot of cinnamon, some brown sugar, and I'm missing something. It's something that I'm missing. I'll think about it with, pumpkin pie spice. And I recently started using it maybe about a year ago. So to me, it adds a very good flavor to that. So like I said, I just layer it and then I cook it for maybe 15 minutes. You want to just kind of tilt your lid. You don't want it to be on all the way. And I think I forgot to show y'all that because I was just trying to get this food done, okay? But you can look up stovetop kisses recipe because that's where I found the original recipe, but I just kind of tweaked it and added my own different spices in there, whatever. I did want to tell you at the end of them cooking, you want to add your butter and then also add your vanilla. And then I go in and just squeeze some lemon, like a half a lemon on top. But you don't want to add your butter and your vanilla in like at the beginning of the cooking process. This is the time. Look into your eyes. The first thing that I do is I cut my potatoes in different sizes. Like I cut some big, I cut some small, because as you know, when you cook potatoes, they are going to get soft. So you want to cut some of them bigger, whereas when they get soft, it's not mushy. You know, they will be soft, but they will hold the shape, if you get what I'm saying. And so I do that. And then once I cook my potatoes, number one, don't leave out the kitchen because you don't want to cook them too long. Like you want it to be fork tender. So you don't want to cook it to the point where when you start to move your potatoes around, it turns into like mashed potatoes. So you don't want to do that. So like I said, I make sure my potatoes is fork tender. And then once I take them out of the pan, I drain them. I let them drain for at least 10 minutes because you want to make sure all of that liquid is out. And then I place my potatoes in the refrigerator until they completely cool off. Completely cool. So if you have to leave them in there for an hour, leave them in there for an hour. You don't want to mix your potatoes hot. So that's another mistake that a lot of people do. They, as soon as they cook their potatoes, then they mix them. You don't want to do that. You want to mix it while it's cold. So now I'm going to cut up my bell pepper, my onions, and my celery. And I'm going to add that in there once it's all mixed up. I'm going to add my macaroni. What is wrong with me today? I'm going to add my mayo. And a lot of people just go ahead and add the relish, as far as just taking it, spooning it out, putting it into the potato salad. You don't want to do that. So what I learned to kind of get my potato salad to the texture that I want it to be, I put my relish, my sweet relish, into a paper towel, and then I squeeze all of that liquid off. Now you do want to add a little bit of the liquid, but what I found in the past before I was able to get the right texture that I want, was it was just like I would have the right texture, and then when I would put the relish in there, it would become, a little loose, and I wanted it to hold that texture. So I just kept playing around with it, and I was like, you know what? It's the liquid. That's the problem. So once I started doing that, immediately the right texture. So that's what you want to do. And I think that's about it. I think that's some of the things that people do to their potato salad, and it just comes out too soft or too, it has too much of a liquid texture. I don't think I told you all what I add to my potatoes. So I add mayo, of course, relish, the onion, bell pepper, celery, salt, pepper, and a small amount of sugar. I do not add mustard or eggs. Well, sometimes I'll add eggs if my husband or the other guest that's coming over may want it, I'll add it, but it's perfectly fine to me without the mustard and the eggs. Now, everything was good, but this was the start of the show. Okay, so let's get into the macaroni. This is the cheese that I use along with Parmesan. Now, if you really want that mac and cheese that's going to make somebody slap their mama, you need to, number one, start off with fresh shredded cheese. Okay, so I'm going to shred my cheese, and then I'm going to add evaporated milk, and then I kicked it up a notch with some heavy cream. Oh my God, you talking about some good, rich macaroni and cheese? I'm telling you. And then I added just some salt, pepper. You're going to add a little bit of sugar, just enough to balance everything out. Listen, my mama came over. We didn't have any family over like we usually do on holidays. So my mama, she came over. And when I tell you, my mama, she's just like not a huge macaroni and cheese person. Mama even she had to get her another scoop. Okay, y'all girl did that. I did the whole entire menu, but I did that on the macaroni and cheese, honey. And this is the Parmesan that I use. I forgot to tell y'all, I also used a small amount of Velveeta. And another thing, if I cannot see that pepper in that macaroni and cheese, it is not good. It is not good unless your pepper is showing in that mac and cheese.
I found love, for real love. Let this be the real thing.
Okay, so for the pound cake, I have a video of the pound cake, but that's what I made for dessert. And I just colored the glaze to a light pink color. And I used some gold spray. I also just purchased some cookies from Walmart. And I'm going to use that same spray and just spray them just to give them a different look. And yeah, so that's what I did for dessert. And I will link that video in the comments with the pound cake recipe. So yeah, I hope you all enjoyed this video. Don't forget to comment, like, and go ahead and subscribe if you are not subscribed to this channel. And I will see you all in the next video. Bye, y'all.
I see you watching me when we're with our friends. It's definitely something in the air. So let's take it from there, 'cause I know you want it. Afraid to let it show, and I know you need it. Why don't we let it grow?